we literally just had our interview off the camera right now. Congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you. Thank you. We are blessed. We are blessed and
That's
we
right.
are favored. Hello.
I am so happy to see all of the success come to you. You know, like watching you on TV, watching your interviews, you have a special light. You have this beautiful aura, but it's different when, you know, you meet you in person and you're just like, oh my gosh, it is electrifying.
I feel the same when you meet a kindred spirit. And that's how I feel. It's a beautiful thing to connect with people in person.
It's beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
And maybe it's a New Orleans thing. Maybe I'm biased because I just love New Orleans. And everybody I've ever met from New Orleans has been incredible. Just stand-up person, integrity. There's honor. Do you know what I mean? It's just true. You know, I can't explain it. And maybe because, again, my niece is everybody that I have ever loved is from New Orleans or lives in New Orleans. It makes sense.
It's a special place. It's hard to describe. If
you've
never been there, it's just like a special blend of everything good in the world. It's old and new. It's like the Caribbean. It's Europe. It's Africa. It's the South, but it's not like crazy parts of the South. You know, it's like, it's a very, very special place.
What would you say has been the biggest influence out of New Orleans on you musically?
Oh, it's got to be my dad. You know, my father was with me in the beginning, obviously when I was born, but more importantly, when you talk about mentorship, he played the bass around the house and he had all these instruments around the house. So before I even knew I was becoming a musician, I had access to the bass and the drums and the piano, and I was doing all of this stuff on my own. And he sat me down and he said, let me show you something. And then that slowly turned into come and play with the band, come and play with your uncles and your cousins. I had like 30 cousins. I got 7 uncles. You know, New Orleans black family is a big family. So, and then I was the youngest at the time, and I showed talents like the Jackson 5. They put Michael in the front. So they put me in the front, had me start singing, had me start playing. Next thing you know, we had the junior family band with my 30 cousins. And then we started doing stuff together. So it was him first who really kind of inspired me.
Did you ever doubt yourself during that time? Were you just like, Dad, I don't know. I might just play video games. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm a gamer. You know, I told, I loved playing music, but it wasn't like I thought of it as a profession. I just thought of it like something that's a part of everyday life. Because everybody you know played music. You know, I played basketball in high school, and the guys on the basketball team, some of them rapped as they played music. Or you go to school and you're playing in and you're in the marching band, and that's not really what you're doing as a profession, but everybody respect the marching band. St. Aug Marching 100, shout out. First time, by the way, that St. Aug Marching 100 won a Grammy.
What?
This past Sunday.
I mean, what a moment.
I'm so emotional thinking about it. You know, so much of the city I included in this album, and for all of us to win, it just proves we can all win.
There's enough. There's enough for everybody to win.
Everybody can win.
That's right. Which is why I loved your speech when you won your Grammy, and when you were just talking about there is no best artist, there's no best dancer, there's no best anything. It's just that music finds people at the perfect time. When you said that, everything clicked. And not just for me. I know I felt like everybody was just like, yes, he said that perfectly. Oh. Do you practice this? Or is everything from your heart?
That's the only way.
Right.
Literally, for me, if I practice a speech, it will be worse than if I speak from the heart in the moment. Maybe that's something that comes from being an improviser in music and loving the creative process and just wanting the spirit to come. That's what I do when I speak. I try to let the spirit come through me. And you seem like the same way, where it's just... Yeah,
it just happens.
Yeah, you don't think about what you're going to say. Right. You're just flowing with the spirit. Mm-hmm. That's what I think is the best part about being creative. That's right. Is to know, oh, the spirit is here. Let me get out the way. Right.
The spirit's going to do what it's got to do. I'm just the vessel. I'm just the physical form carrying it.
Exactly.
It's not really us. It's the spirit.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I love. It's just when you speak to people, when you have a platform like that. I remember people saying, when we won the Oscar and I said the 12 notes, and I was like, I didn't think of that beforehand. Just stuff that comes to you in the moment, because it's such a monumental moment. It's like civil rights marches and music lessons and all kind of stuff led you to this point. Like all the culmination of so much has led you that. So you should speak from the heart to really catch the truth of what it means. It shouldn't be pre-thought out.
It's fulfilling, right? I'm sure, on your journey, there's been times you try to practice a speech versus when it comes from the heart, and you know the difference.
Oh yeah, people know too. Even if it's good,
yes,
people know. And I think there's nothing wrong with having something prepared. But I even think about like Martin Luther King Jr. had the I Have a Dream speech, and that one part that we repeat all the time wasn't planned. The story is crazy because Mahalia Jackson was sitting behind him because she used to sing before he would speak a lot. The great gospel singer Mahalia Jackson said to him, Martin, tell him about the dream. Tell him about the dream, Martin. I just churchy. He's like, tell him about the dream. And he said, I have a dream that, and then he goes into his thing.
Special.
That's it. That's the spirit.
And it's just something you can never make up. You can never prepare for that. It just has to happen.
Yes, that's right. And so many artists, we just get caught up in this idea that we got to follow trends or we have to be something that we're not just because it might not be in season or it might not be the thing that everybody is necessarily gravitating towards. You got to be yourself even if you don't see yourself.
Do you remember a time where you went through that, and what did you do to overcome that?
I think it's always about continuing the process, trusting the process. I always felt that. I felt that in moments where I'm making an album, I'm working on a song, or something is happening creatively that doesn't seem like it's going to be what I intended it to be, or it doesn't seem like it's going to be to the level I intended it to be. And I'm just like, how are we going to get this over the hump? How are we going to get it there? Like, how are we going to make this hot? It's not happening right now.
Right.
And you just got to trust the process. You got to know I spent hours in the craft. I spent hours listening to music and dissecting music, and I have life experiences and all these things. They're going to show up for me. They're going to show up for the people. So just stick with it. Don't quit. Don't give up on yourself.
Has there been times, because this is an industry, this is a business. Have you felt that people have tried to change your sound or try to, hey, you know what, Jon, this is what's popular. We need you to do this. And did you struggle with that at all? Where you're just like, you know what, if I can't do what I want to do, maybe this isn't for me.
My label journey has been like that. I started when, obviously, I told you I started with my dad and I was a kid and grew up in New Orleans, but I moved to New York when I was 17 and I went to Juilliard and studied music, but I was really just on the side hustling with my own band, doing stuff and trying to make a real name for myself as a band leader, musician, artist, whatever I could do, scoring films, whatever it was musically that I could do. And by the time I was 19, I had a lot of record deals that were coming my way. 5 albums, 6 albums. But I didn't sign them because something within me knew that, well, they don't see where I'm going. They see what's in front of them now.
Right.
And that's what you have to always know. Only you know what's in you. Only you know the potential of what's in you. And if people don't see that, you have to know maybe this isn't the time. So I made 7 or 8 independent projects, just me experimenting, me finding my voice, my sound, pretty much artist developing myself over the years. And then in 2018, that's when I signed my first ever record deal. And by this point, I was already on TV every night. I was doing things already. And I signed the deal and now this is the record. This is really like my first studio record on a label. And, I'm made this record 33 years old. This is starting from having the opportunity to sign a record deal at 19 and not doing it because it just never felt like the right thing. It never felt like the people on the other side saw where I wanted to go.
Hearing that puts everything in perspective, because for a lot of people who are just watching, right, they don't really know the process for whatever reason. It's also part of the mystique of the industry and just all industries. You just don't know how things happen. You're just like, oh, okay, you won. But to hear that all this entire journey led up to this point, it's years, rejection after rejection, you know, and just having to believe in yourself when really others didn't.
Yeah. Oh, they believed in you halfway, which is even worse.
Oh.
It's even worse. It's like, you can sign this deal, but we want you to just make jazz and classical music records. Like, or we want you to make New Orleans music records. Stay in your lane. Just stay in your, we don't want you to try to make a record that can be on the radio, or that can be considered pop music, or that could be across genres. Stick to this one thing that we know you for. And the same is true in all of the different facets of the industry. You face rejection when you're trying to break outside of the mold of perception. You know, I want to play in rock and roll clubs. I want to play in festivals that are not jazz festivals. I want to play, and early on people were like, well, how? You're a jazz musician. And I'm like, no, I'm not. That's just what I'm studying and doing right now. I do everything. We're human beings. We have the ability and the capacity to be great at more than one thing.
Absolutely right.
We can actually be great at more than one thing. And we can do it more than one at a time.
Right. And do it over and over.
Over and over. It's like,
right.
That's so hard for people to accept sometimes.
Right.
That another person, Nessa, can be exceptional. I can be okay with you being exceptional.
Right.
And I can also be exceptional too.
And it doesn't take away from each other.
Right.
You know, I always tell people, someone winning doesn't mean someone has to lose for their success. Everybody can win. Come on. You know, we all can win. But it's this programming that's happened, and it's, I feel like it's created to pit people against one another, and it takes away the art. And nobody has to lose anything. Everybody can win.
Everybody can win. And that's the thing that I wanted to convey.
Yep. Is
that sure, there are standards where there's excellence, and
sure,
we know that's a given. To be a great anything, there's a standard of barrier entry. Right. But then once you're in this space, we're all winners, because the fact that we made it.
That's right.
The fact that we are creating, there's people out there who feed off of the energy that we give them, and it leads them to divinity. It leads them to closer relationship with family, love of self. It leads them to so many great places, meaningful places in their lives. That's the win.
That's the win.
That's the win.
That's it.
I'm sure people, when they listen to you and they see possibility in you.
Right.
I see you and I'm like, yes.
We won. But we keep going.
We keep going, and everybody continues to win. That's in that mindset.
Right. I love that you embodied New Orleans and you put everybody on, and watching you perform, I felt so much joy for you. I just was like, you know, when somebody has a vision and they're executing it, and you know this is what they wanted, not that it's been made up, this was you. How long does it take for you to put a performance together? Because I can only imagine the creativity that you have in your mind. It's like, wait, no, let's do that again. And you're very collaborative from what I've seen. How long does this process take for you to truly express yourself, not just sonically with the music that we hear, but everything, the entire performance?
Great question. It's a process that I think more people should know, that these performers that you see, they're taking a slice of their life and putting it on stage. And you can feel it when that's the type of performer you're watching. It's emotional. I'm thinking about, we had Queen Taj of the Mardi Gras Indian tradition in New Orleans. It's a Black Native American tradition that has gone back so long in the culture, and people spend their whole life just creating these elaborate, beautiful costumes that they wear one day a year during Mardi Gras. And they spend the whole year, and they spend their whole life savings creating this incredible costume that is a representation of the African diaspora and the way that it's been born into New Orleans culture and the way that it's blended with the Native American culture and created this unique once in a lifetime, only place you can see it culture in New Orleans. I've been blessed to have them on the stage with me at the Grammys. People have been calling and asking, what is that who is that? And it's spreading the culture. The dancers I went to high school with. It's just so much of my life was on that stage. I'm talking Jamel McWilliams, my creative director, choreographer. We spent months thinking about this performance, how to make it tailored to me and my life, and then just to see it happen and to see the way people were flipping in that arena.
And your family was there.
All of our family was there. Yeah.
What a moment.
Truly special.
My heart. Yeah. Who was the first person that you saw when you got off stage after your performance?
I got off stage, saw my brother Jamel Williams. He was there. We went back, and we were so excited.
I love it.
That we didn't even remember that I had to get back to my seat because there was the album of the year announcement coming up. So I had to change because my clothes were drenched with sweat.
Right.
Change. I was rushing, changing. Then I went back to my seat, and I'm sitting next to my mom, my nephew, my dad, and then my grandfather. So it was an incredible moment to truly be in that arena, to represent my culture, my family, and then to win and to share my heart.
Yeah. Did you expect it at all?
I expected that it could happen, and things were pointing to it in a spiritual sense. Mm-hmm. I'm sure, it's hard
the signs were there.
Yeah.
You felt it.
Yeah. You feel it in a way where it's hard to put into words, or it's not necessarily logical.
Right.
It's not logical, but you can say something is just so much was pointing to it. Even Uncle Lenny being the one to announce it.
That's so amazing.
And it's incredible. Our history. I was just thinking about 10 years ago, talking about that time when I was a kid and I was playing in New York City. He would come out and support when we were playing shows for 200 people. He would come out and actually jump on the drums or jump on the guitar, and he would play with us when my band was unknown. This is like before TV, before any awards. And so when he came out on stage, you don't see it on the camera, but he looks at me and he's like, he nods before he gets to the podium. And I was just like, that's interesting that Uncle Lenny Kravitz is up there to give the award out. That was interesting. Then Billie and Phineas, they turn around and they're always so supportive. We hope that you win this.
Isn't that something? Because they're also nominated. Billie's basically rooting against herself because she wants to see you win.
But that's the energy of real creatives, real artists who love. We support each other. It's not about, we've all had our wins. It's not about the wins. It's about the fact that we're all winning by being here and being able to share what we love, and our creativity is appreciated around the world.
Right.
That's the win.
That's the win. It's the win.
Everything else, if we get caught up in this, imagine how that's going to mess up the real win.
Correct.
We're going to be caught up in this and think that this is the thing that defines me. And this is not sustainable.
Right.
You can't. You take these moments as opportunity to continue to forward the message and the creativity that you have within yourself.
That's right.
That's it. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you see it as anything else, you're missing the point.
I love the moment of you and Lady Gaga and SZA backstage, and you and Lady Gaga just showing admiration to each other, and SZA being right there as well. What a moment. What did you feel being able to talk to Gaga and her really just loving your work?
It's so incredible because I saw her performance with Tony Bennett at Radio City Music Hall, the final performance of Mr. Tony Bennett.
Wow, the final one. Huh?
Final one. He's walking off stage. Everybody in the place is crying, and she's ushering him off in this beautiful way, just kind of respecting the elder that he is and the way that he's changed the game, and how she's kind of taken the torch from him in a special sort of ceremonial way. And they invited me to that concert. So when I went to see her, I just wanted to tell her how much that moved me to see somebody at her level and then somebody at his level, but an elder that maybe the two generations would never have come together.
Right.
Unless they decided to do this kind of concert and album. And I wanted to tell her just how much I admired her and how she's, evolved over the years and to be at the point that she is today and to show all the range of the fact that a person can be great at more than one thing. And, I did eventually get to tell her that. But then before I told her that, she just was telling me all of these things about how much she admired me and how much,
I loved
it was just a true love fest. And it really was, a beautiful thing because I'd always felt that concert is the type of stuff that needs to happen more. Mm-hmm. We need to go to our elders. We need to bring them in. We need to have multi-generational moments like the griots, passing on stories and lessons. That needs to happen more in the culture.
You have Quincy Jones. He wrote, an essay in your album, and he said you're the perfect blend of soul and science. What? Wait, hold on. What did you think? What happens at this moment when you read what he wrote about you?
Quincy is, the GOAT. He's the GOAT producer, musician. And in the same way that Gaga reached to Tony Bennett, that was the one who I wanted to connect with. And I've gotten to be in a great relationship with Q over the years, and I just wanted him to write from his heart, what has our relationship meant to you?
Wow.
Like, how can I, as I deliver this album to the public, what is it that you would say to encapsulate the years that we've had this sort of relationship? How would you describe this work from the perspective that you're sitting in,
right,
as this elder who has seen the evolution of music, who has been a part of the evolution of music, from Frank Sinatra to Thriller,
right,
to Back on the Block, to just the whole range of what he's done. And he wrote that. He wrote this incredible essay that's in the album. When you buy the vinyl, it's on gold leaf, and you look at it, and it's just, I brought you one, actually.
Thank you.
I don't know if you like vinyl, but
yes.
Well, it sounds incredible on vinyl.
Oh, I bet.
It's just so rich. It's beautiful.
It's the texture. It's everything. You feel it.
Yes. You feel it so deeply when you hear it. Especially this album has so many different instruments. It has like drum machines mixed with like real drums, mixed with like African drums, mixed with all of these different kinds of horns. I'm playing theremin. I'm playing like 12 instruments on the record. The grand piano.
Unbelievable.
And you hear it on vinyl, and it's just, I love listening to it on vinyl. It's a story.
Oh, it's an experience. And we love experiences.
Yes.
Now that you're here, is Boyhood an ode to New Orleans?
100%. 100%. I made that song thinking about growing up in New Orleans. PJ Morton is on the record. Trombone Short is on the record. And we grew up together.
I love this.
Talk about B Mike.
Yes.
B Mike, Troy, and I.
Yeah.
We were in school together. We'd be messing around in the courtyard doing lunch and having good times and thinking about dreams that we wanted to pursue.
Wow.
And you look today and we're living the things that we talked about on the courtyard back in school. And I just felt like making a song about this. Like, what can you say? Like, how can I say this? And that was what that chorus was. And thinking about all of the stories, Papa wouldn't give me ends grandpa was the ATM.
Yeah,
You
it
know?
just everything about it. It was actually Katrina. She loves the song, and so she's like, "Man, I feel like this is just. Can you find out is it an ode to New Orleans?" And I was like, "I think it is, but let me make sure. Let's not assume.
Yes.
Let's not play ourselves." And I was actually on your Twitter, and I had noticed that you were just reposting stuff, and something that stood out to me when you posted about the sounding like a mix of Thelonious Monk and Manny Fresh, and just having everything and being able to express it in different ways, which is why I don't feel like anyone can categorize what you do.
I love that. I don't want to be categorized. I think that that's a way that frankly, for black entertainers of color, women in music, it has been a way to marginalize people in music. You know, if you find someone who is doing music and they're a person of color, it's categorized differently than if it was the same music and it wasn't a person of color. And these are things that I notice. You know, this is a remnant of records in the past being separated by race. You know, you had black records, race records, and you had white records. And it's a remnant of people like Chuck Berry, Fats Domino being classified as R&B when really they were the fathers of rock and roll. Little Richard. This is actually rock and roll, but because it was black people, they called it R&B. And the people who were copying their style and really being influenced and inspired, which is nothing wrong with inspiration, but it was the labeling that was problematic. They were called rock and roll. So this is just a remnant of that. And I just think that we are in an era now where you can break that. Just because I'm a black artist, that doesn't mean I have to be relegated to jazz, blues, gospel, or R&B and rap. It can be all of that and more. And it can be pop. It can be album of the year. That's okay. It doesn't have to be just in the black categories. You know, we have these dog whistling categories right now where it's basically the same kind of marginalization of the past, but people have tried to make it a little more palatable, and we're breaking through with that. Look at what Tyler's doing. Just look at everything that's happening in the music world. The truth is gonna come through. We're not gonna be stuck forever, and we're innovators. We move culture forward, so it should be recognized as such.
How do you challenge yourself to keep on creating because it's just so good already, right? Because someone can just say, "Hey, you're already successful. Look what you've won. Grammys, Oscar, this. Well, what else do you really need at this point?"
I'm not caught up in that.
Mm-hmm.
I always, for better or for worse, maybe I should just be cool and not work. I'm always working. I'm always working on the craft. I'm always building something in the studio. I'm always writing a piece of music. I'm writing a symphony right now. I'm writing another symphonic work to premiere before the symphony premieres in May. I have albums and albums and albums and beats on hard drives that haven't been released that will find the right place for them as time moves on. I create as a way of life, and it's just who I am. I'm sure there's
ways, right?
Yeah. That it's not about if I can win an award doing it. I use that as an opportunity to really celebrate what all the awards intrinsically are for, which is to celebrate art and creativity and music and to open more hearts and minds to things that can change their life. And that's it. So hopefully I'll keep that fire and I'll keep having the great people around me that make it possible.
That's right.
If I have the great people who are dedicated and have pure intentions around me and I have a fire to do what it is that I'm doing, then I'll always just be doing it.
I know you had a chance to work with Spike Lee before.
Yes. Spike.
Acting and that entire world. Did he share any gems with you?
Watching him you learn a lot. he called me actually maybe a month ago we were in rehearsal for the symphony, and he called me up just to say, man, because he really, before I worked with him in films, we go back. He really believed way back. We go back, and man, there's so many great stories I could share with Spike, but he just wanted to tell me, he was just, I'm glad that the world is finally seeing what I always saw. And that was beautiful, because he's another person in the culture who, him and Terrence Blanchard, hometown hero of mine, film composer, trumpeter, they broke barriers in film and decided it doesn't just have to be this kind of stuff. We can make films that are jazz soundtracks and that explore these themes of our community, and Black directors can have a space in the pantheon in a way that's not just relegated to Black films. Even if we're making films from a Black perspective, they can still be classics. They can still be broad in their appreciation. So just getting to know him and hang around him, for years before we even made a film together. And then when I did Red Hook Summer in 2011, just having the opportunity to see how he makes a film after so many years of being a fan, just being on the set with him for a month. Yeah. So many lessons I could share from that, right. Stories of things I seen him do, things he said. It's just great to be around greatness. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't it so beautiful? I'm such a fan of seeing someone just really just be so at peace and at one with their craft, and just really just work at the highest level possible. And Spike, to me, embodies that.
Yes. He's so locked in.
So locked in.
If you're locked in, if you're locked in, anything becomes possible.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. And that's why I was so curious how your experience was with him, because, I've had the honor to be around him while he works, and it's so magical.
Oh, wow. And
so to hear you, the way you're expressing it, it's like, oh, okay, everybody gets this feeling when they see him be great at what he does.
Yes. He's got the movie in his mind the whole time. Mm-hmm. And you're looking, and you don't know how it's going to happen.
Yes.
You don't know how it's actually going to come to fruition.
Right.
I remember being on the set of Red Hook Summer and thinking, man, how is this going to happen?
Right. Yeah. Yes. How is this all going to piece together?
Yes.
But it does.
Yeah. And that's it. I learned more about trusting the process with making the album by watching him do that and watching other people in other art forms do what they do than I have from studying albums. I learned more from studying other art forms and studying life and seeing how life unfolds in unpredictable ways. And that kind of stuff inspires me so much in my music making.
Right. Who would you say that you love studying? Whose work you're just like, and maybe they don't get the credit they deserve for whatever reason, but you're just like, this person embodies so much.
Wow. I study a lot.
Yeah. Which is so beautiful.
I mean, there's so much. I'm thinking about who doesn't get the credit that they deserve. Let's see. Musically.
Yeah, musically. That you feel, I want to spotlight them.
Wow. Okay, so musically speaking.
It could even be someone from when you were growing up and you're just like, wow, I don't know if people really understand what this music did or how it makes you feel, but go check this out. Go study this.
Yeah. Wow. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on today that I think maybe
it's interesting.
Yeah. It's happening and people see it happening, but I don't think the impact of it is known yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff like that I think about. More movements in music. Anytime someone breaks away from the algorithm today, it's something noteworthy.
Yes.
I think it's something. That's why when I mentioned Tyler,
Right.
it was interesting to me because it's different. Mm-hmm. It's not features based. It's just different.
Art.
Yeah. And whether you like the music or not is not so built into the algorithm.
Yes. Break the algorithm.
Yeah.
I love it.
For me, I made music for so long. And I know so many different kinds of music. There's music that people wouldn't even think that I listen to or know about. That, I mean, soon maybe it'll be revealed. But, I'm thinking about how so many other artists are probably multifaceted, but are locked into an algorithm. And what they could be creating if we liberated ourselves is slavery to the algorithm. How can we break free from that? How can we actually be more of what we actually are? And have that be what the public expects. And in general, that's how they listen anyway. They don't listen based on genres. They listen freely. The kids I know, my nephew 7 years old, my nephew 13 years old, they're with me at the Grammys. It's funny, when I was hanging out with BTS, they know that music, and they listen to Doja Cat. they listen to all kinds of music. They listen to the jazz that I play them. They listen to Marvin Gaye. 7 years old, my other nephew 13, he makes his own playlist, and I was listening to stuff he had on his playlist. He had the Doobie Brothers and Earth, Wind and Fire. I was like, how did you find this music?
Right.
How did you even find this? And he's like, I like it. I just heard it on YouTube. And I'm just thinking about that. Why are we less liberated than the audience of children who we're serving? So for me, that's what's noteworthy. Right now, that's the key ingredient to look for when you're listening to music. And somebody who is either worthy of support or just somebody who's noteworthy and is doing something different, if they're not a part of the algorithm. Who's breaking the algorithm? Who's breaking the chains of slavery to the algorithm?
When I'm hearing your nephews are utilizing the internet like that and YouTube, I get happy. I'm like, oh, there's positive that comes out of this.
Yes, that's negative and extreme positive. It's both.
Both. And so when you hear that, you're just like, okay, there's some good. Because, I'm constantly hearing about the downside, the negativity behind it. So it's just how does this algorithm, and who's programming the algorithm? How does it work? But however way it's working, you found a way to break out of this entire algorithm, which is why I think so many people have been rooting for you. And do you feel that? Do you feel like your peers have been cheering you on? I mean, I feel like the entire place at the Grammys exploded when you won.
It was crazy. It felt so beautiful because I saw everybody just rise to their feet and just celebrate. It was one of those moments where you see the beauty of the industry and you think about the competition and you think about all of those things that you may hear or you think that could be dark or, moments that have been different to that we've seen in award shows or whatever. And that's like, okay, but that's not really the reality all the time. In fact, when people love what they do and you're in a room together, to see somebody else who loves what they do and put their heart into it, celebrate it, makes you feel good. Right. It doesn't make you feel like you're lesser. It's really just an industry of people who love music.
Yes.
Which is an industry of people who love music and we want to make music and share it with other people. And we want to share our love with other people. That's the majority of people. And I felt that so strongly. And of course, the fans and the audience, because we were in Vegas and not many of the industry could come out as usual when it's in LA because the Grammys moved to Vegas because of COVID and everything.
Right.
So just to see the fans too in the other seats that were behind us and the way it resonated with them, it was a beautiful thing. I think it was actually, I prefer to have more fans mixed in with the artists and the industry folks.
The energy that they give is different.
So different.
It's different.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, it's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
and they were just so happy to see it and so supportive and so glad they were a part of this moment. It just felt historic. You know what I mean?
It was.
It felt so historic.
What did you think right when you heard that you won Album of the Year?
I felt like I had a look of surprise on my face, and it wasn't so much that I didn't think that we could win it. It was more that I surprised myself in how I broke past the algorithm. Because I've been working on breaking past the algorithm since I was 19. And the algorithm has changed a lot. But I've been sticking to my guns. And to see that actually worked to the level of Album of the Year win, that was shocking. I was like, "Ooh, we really?" I looked at Ryan Lynn, he's like, we've been friends for 10 years. He executive produced my album with me, and then and I looked back at him. I said, it felt like two high school friends like gamed the system. You know, people talk about, you know, and Ye has things that about him that are, you know, Kanye's Kanye, but I'm a fan. I love how he's just been able to, the algorithm.
Right.
I keep going back to, because it's just so important that we break free from that and have free thinking artists and artists that are open to the possibility of something that's never been done before. That's so important. And I just felt like in that moment when we won, it was like, this is possibility.
Yeah.
This can happen. First time in 14 years a black artist wins Album of the Year. I mean, this now should be less of a anomaly. It should be less of an anomaly, more of a thing that opens the door. So many people wrote to me saying, you made me believe in more. You made me believe that this is possible. So that's what I really was just shocked. I was like, wow, we broke the door. The
algorithm.
We broke through that. We powerful. We
This
we
is
are
happening.
powerful. Yeah.
This is happening. What did your grandfather say?
He looked at me and said, once in a lifetime. He's one of the first wave to integrate the Navy. Think about that.
Wow.
So first wave to integrate, 17 years old. And for him to be in the position now where he's watching his grandson win the highest prize in music. Yeah. He just looked at it, like once in a lifetime.
What happens when you go back home to New Orleans? Are people, do they even, not that they care, of course they care, they're celebrating your win, but is it just, it's Jon, you know? How is that energy now? Is it different at all after winning?
Look, is that same Jon. That's a lyric in Boyhood of that same Jon, because they called me Jon when I was coming up. So like, it's the same. It's the same. I went back home for March Madness because I was involved with March Madness, and I was down there doing a lot of stuff. And just walking through the street, we were filming a lot of the commercials for March Madness, and then you'll see people just come up, and it would be so much love. It was before I won, but it was just celebrating the fact that I'm representing us in the world. That's more what the celebration is about. You represent us. People don't know still today all that we have to offer in our city. It's not just Bourbon Street and party time. It's not, you know very well.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not an establishment. It's not somewhere you walk in and out of. It's the people. And there's no other place that just has, I don't know, it's just this richness, the love and the warmth.
Yes.
The warmth of it, you know? It's
Yeah.
different. And you feel, and I can't even imagine how it feels for you to go home and get that love and get rejuvenated, right? It's like you're recharged again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what do you do afterwards? You know, you're just like, I can take on the world because I got everybody with me.
I got my people with me. I feel like, what do? I don't, it's hard to stop. Sometimes you get to a point where you feel like you're so tired that you can't go on. And I remember I was down there and we had a 24-hour trip. We flew in that morning. We did ads and performances all day. Went right back on the plane. Went home, went back to the studio the next morning. And it was just crazy that my energy was so high through it all, because if I wasn't in New Orleans and I wasn't getting that energy from the people, I probably wouldn't have been able to make it through that kind of a 2-day period.
Oh, yeah. It's tough. That schedule, right when you said it, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. But it's different when you have the love of the people and they're just right there with you. You just keep going. You're just on this, high, really. It's a natural high that you can't get anywhere else.
No. It's in it recharges you.
That's right.
While the other stuff is draining you.
Right.
That's recharging you.
Right.
And that's what I feel every time I go home. I really feel that my family and also just the people, my extended family of the community. I always feel that. They always rep for me. It's always so much love, and it's just so positive. It's all ages. It's everybody. It's like everybody. It's so beautiful.
Do you feel like that love is what has helped you, even with extremely trying, difficult times that you're still going through right now with your wife? Mm-hmm. Is that love necessary to keep going?
It's the only way. Mm-hmm. We in it together. Everybody in these times of difficulty, personally and also just globally.
Yeah.
I've realized that more so now than any point in my life. You need people. We need each other.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be alone in our own little silos, just being these survivors. So this idea of a survivor that is just powering through.
Right.
That's not really what a survivor is. A survivor is the one who is surrounded by community and love. And, we're making sure that she's surrounded all the time by people who really have that healing, loving energy. Mm-hmm. And I'm also making sure that when I'm not there, that I'm taking care of myself. My vessel needs to be healed and that makes me able to be there for her more.
Right.
So ultimately, it's a cycle of community. Mm. You gotta build your community. I encourage anybody out there, whatever times you're going through, good and bad, reach out to people who you know love you and you love them. And if y'all have beef, squash it, because life gets to moments where it's bigger than that. You got to get past those petty, they're ultimately petty in the grand scheme of things. Those kind of petty disagreements that separate us, because we need to be together.
That's right. What made you decide to share publicly that you both were married to each other?
I was in the interview and the guy asked Jim Axelrod, my boy Jim, CBS family, comes to me and he says, so, last time I saw y'all weren't married. You talking about getting married. It's like, oh yeah, we did that already. He was like, you did? And then obviously that became the point of the interview.
Right.
That became like an exclusive.
Right. But so it wasn't supposed to be so it wasn't like you were trying to keep it a secret.
I wasn't trying to keep it a secret, but it was also like I hadn't told anybody.
Right. Gotcha.
We would just, I designed a ring.
It took a year.
It took a year. Yeah. It took a year to design this ring, which we had been talking about. We took a trip to LA. This is obviously, maybe a year and a half ago. We're in LA and we were talking about rings. And I was basically taking notes. you know,
I love this.
because she was telling me
what she
wanted,
yeah,
without saying,
right,
this is the ring I want. But I got it.
Right.
I was like,
yeah.
okay, got
you
it.
read the room.
Yeah, got it. So okay, so and then, and then you know she's from Tunisia in North Africa. We were there too. She was telling me about all of these like North African designs and all these things that are specific to an area. I was like, oh, okay, I got it. Let me figure out
Right.
how I'm gonna figure this out.
Right.
Because it's a lot.
Right.
You don't just go to North Africa and you don't.
I want this, I want that. Yeah, you got to figure it out.
You got to figure stuff out.
Right.
So I was just figuring it out, you know, going through that, and I gotten it done, and I held on to it for a couple months, not knowing like how I wanted to do it. And then we got this news of the diagnosis, and I had decided that I wanted to do it. You know, there's a beautiful story of Louis Armstrong and Dizzy Gillespie, where on Louis Armstrong's birthday, he gives Dizzy a gift, and they would give each other gifts on their birthday. So I thought, well, I'm a fan of history. I always loved little tidbits like that. I was like, let me give her this ring on my birthday. So let me give her this kind of the gift of me.
Right.
And I think it was the day before we got the diagnosis, on November 10th. I'm born November 11th. And I was thinking for a day, do I still do it? You know, do I still do it? Or is it just not the time for that? And then I decided, you know what? We can't let this stop the plan. This can't stop the plan. This will set an intention that we're going to get past this moment to the thing that we planned on doing. And the intention is a powerful thing to set in your life. That's a master key. And I know that. That's been proven in my life time and time again through a lot of hard times. Set that intention, you move through it, if God willing. So that's what I did. And then before the procedure that she went through, the bone marrow transplant, which was in February, you know, that was a moment where I you know, we've been talking about when to do the ceremony, and we just decided that day to do it. And that was another moment of just forwarding that intention. You know, you have that intention that you set, and you forward that, and you solidify that in reality. So just a matter of not letting anything get in the way of the plan. And then Jim, he had me spill the beans on camera. So Jim got me.
Yeah.
He got me there. So that was that.
Yeah.
And I don't mind. I don't, you know, it's not like it's a secret.
Right.
It's just one of those things that happens when you want to plan how to tell people in your own way, and then
it happens
the way it's supposed to.
You know what stood out to me when your wife was talking about how you knew you wanted to basically marry her within a week of meeting her?
Oh, yeah. It was
Wait, this is like a whole situation. What was it? What are the signs to look for? Everyone's taking notes right now. Like, okay, so what do we look for? How did you know?
Well, we met, you know, the first time we met, we were teenagers. Well, she was actually 12, 13. I was like 14. We were in a band camp, summer camp. So for me, I'm in a point in life where you know somebody for years through different phases, and you know that person's heart. So know the person's heart. I'm at a point where that's such an important part of things, because you know, you meet people. I meet so many people all the time. You know how it is when you meet tons of people all the time. Mm-hmm. And when you meet a ton of people all the time, you got to have an anchor in your life. You have to have somebody that you feel at home with. Because we're in this age where if you are single out there and you have so many options, and you just like, you can swipe, you can meet people all the time, you could be paralyzed by choice. So for one, the thing that you can't replace in another person is that heart.
That's right.
And the way y'all hearts connect, and the way that it makes you feel at home. It makes you feel like you with somebody who sees you and you see them. And they'll go through all of the ups and downs with you. You'll make mistakes. They'll make mistakes. You'll go through times where you are celebrating. You go through times like what we're going through now. Will they be there? So that was the first thing. And when you know somebody from the time that they are 12 years old, yeah. And then we not only knew each other, but we saw each other. We were in each other's lives for 10 years before dating.
Wow.
So, this is one of those things that it's a gift. I don't know many people that long in my life. I know 10 people for that long, which is over like 18 years.
That's special.
Yeah. So that's the first thing. Maybe the person who you're looking for been around you all along. It's not always the case, but I think that was what happened with us. It just was like a magnetism. We kept being pulled towards each other. So that was something else to look for. You just listen to the signs. Watch the signs. Pay attention to the signs in life. If you constantly are in somebody's orbit and they're not stalking you,
right.
Then it could mean that there's something there that y'all need to explore together. A relationship, a collaboration, a friendship, mentorship, something. Y'all obviously have magnetism and y'all have an interest in similar things, and y'all are in the world, oriented to the world in the same kinds of ways to end up in the circles that you're in. Something is there. And a lot of times people see that and they think it may be competition, or maybe they take it for granted. All these things we get insecure about. I was blessed enough to see, this person, there's something here. I feel this. Let me pursue this. Let's pursue this. Those are two things that really stood out to me. And then it was once I explored that, and once we explored it together, really, it didn't feel superficial. It kept getting deeper. And the hard stuff that we dealt with kept making it deeper. It didn't break it. And that's the test.
True test. That's right.
Is hard stuff that you go through, is moments of feeling disconnected, moments of feeling separate from each other, moments of health and wellness crisis, moments of lack of inspiration in your respective careers or work or creative practice, because we both are creative people. All these things can really destroy a relationship if you can figure out how to manage that, which is more logistical and more social. You can actually figure out how to be in partnership through those periods of time and want to still be in partnership through those periods of time.
That's it.
And then go for it.
That's it.
I mean, that's God telling you. I'm very spiritual. I believe God speaks to us, and I try to listen. That's what my faith is all about. You listen to what the Spirit is telling you, and that's typically signs from the Spirit. People see those struggles as moments of, that means we need to end this.
Nope.
That means we need to step out of this. No.
No. It's just a hurdle that you both are going to overcome together.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And once you are married, I believe that there's no winning. There's no winning an argument or winning. There's no winning. There's no winning. You're one now. You don't have to win. You should always just say, I'm sorry first. There's no winning.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's no winning. You're not going to have a one up on them.
Yes.
I'm going to prove to them.
Yes.
You actually end up losing.
You lose.
You lose.
You lose.
Right.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You won.
That's it. And you win together.
Yes.
By getting over the hard times together. That's it. Even like the silly arguments, the win is there when you win together. Mm-hmm. It's community, right? Isn't it always, it's going back to what you said, it's that community feeling.
Yes.
Jon, I appreciate you. I am so thankful for you. I am so happy that you took the time to be here today. When you didn't have to be here, I'm sincerely wishing the best for your wife. And I'm going to be praying for all of you. And seeing you win means so much to so many people. And you winning just truly solidifies good people can win and be great and do what they love at the highest level possible. So thank you for giving that feeling to all of us again, especially during very difficult times. And, you know, I know you have so many places to be, but just know home is always going to be with the people because you never forget the people. And I appreciate it. And I love that you love deeply. You know what I mean? And you care deeply. And that kind of love and passion and artistry is so rare. And I'm just so thankful to have been able to be here in your presence today to have this conversation. I literally am going to get so emotional. And I love that you put on for New Orleans. I love it all. Shout out to B-Mike.
B-Mike.
Shout out to all our loved ones out in New Orleans. It's something so special and beautiful. And, you know, hopefully when I go out to New Orleans with Colin, you could tell us some other spots to go to, you know, Let us know. We're all about it. He was just there not that long ago. So I thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being you and winning and wanting to share the win.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity, because what you represent and all that you are in the world is important. We all have a role to play.
That's right.
We all have a role to play. Yeah. And that's it. If we know that, then we value each other.
That's right.
It's not a competition.
Never.
So thank you for sharing this platform with me.
Of course.
And the ability for us to share this with the world. That's a gift.
Anytime. I know I'm not from New Orleans and we're not in New Orleans, but this is, listen, New York's like a second home to you.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
come on. You've been here. You know what it is.
Yeah.
This is anything you ever need. It's right here.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Just don't forget about us as you keep on taking over the world, you know?
We are in there. We are family now.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jon. Thank you.